Hi everyone, my name is Lisa Zaro and I'm the co-owner of Zaro Celebrations. The other owner is my husband. His name is Joe and we are proud parents of Anthony and Joseph Zaro, who you might see once in a while in our videos. Sometimes they make an appearance, or you might see a dog acting like a cat climbing on the back of my chair. That would be Hennessy, or Lily might make an appearance time to time too. She's our little Shih Tzu. So a lot of the videos you'll see me very casual, just kind of matter of fact, trying to keep this home business very homey when I do these videos. And then when we take you out um, to the actual events, it'll be a little bit more glamorous. But at home, t-shirt, my Batman shirt from, or Batgirl shirt from Great Adventure, maybe some earrings and a little lipstick, but that's about it, because we want to make sure that Joe and I get on here and tell you a bit about some tips for your own personal event planning. Tonight's video is going to be about selecting readings for your special event. So in most cases, we'll be talking about, for readings, wedding readings. So let's say you're getting married soon and you want to find a wedding reading, but all you've ever heard of when you go to weddings or hear about weddings is Bible readings, which are wonderful and beautiful, or Shakespeare. Now, I don't know a lot of people lately that do Shakespearean wedding readings. It does occasionally come up, and that's a very personal choice, but there's so many other choices out there. So when I work with couples as a professional officiant, and when I'm interviewing people that my husband's working with as a professional officiant also, and I'm writing their ceremonies, I want to get to know them a little bit better about their backgrounds, their interests, their traditions, why they fell in love with each other, etc. And as I get to know their life story, I get to put together a picture in my head of their life. Obviously, I haven't walked the last few years with them, but I need to make recommendations for readings. That's really important to save the couple time. So instead of them going through a gazillion books or readings, you know, listening to different songs, looking at lyrics, etc., I'll ask them. For instance, there's a beautiful reading by Robert Fulghum. It's called Union. It's a gorgeous reading, and it's all about all of the moments that lead up to the wedding day. And it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it's a pretty popular reading at local weddings. There's also, for dog lovers, the amazing Taylor Malley has a poem called How Falling in Love is Like Owning a Dog. And it is funny and light. It brings a little bit of levity to your ceremony. You can hear them in the background. I'm saying they're playing, they're whooping it up one of the last nights before they go back to school. So hopefully they'll keep it down a little bit back there. Anywho, so How Falling in Love is Like Owning a Dog by Taylor Malley is fantastic. Brings that little bit of laughter to your ceremony, and also it's not too comical where it's like a sitcom on television where you're laughing hysterically the whole time. If that's what you're going for, I have other reading suggestions for you. Or you can look some other things up. Even if you just Google funny wedding readings, you will come up with a lot of different options. There's also some lighter readings, like All I Ever Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, I think is the title of it. There's also Oh, the Places You Will Go by Dr. Seuss. Those are lighter ones as well. One thing that I would caution you to do, though, if you're doing a reading at someone else's wedding or even for your own, is consider the amount of time it's going to take for that reading to be done. If I had one couple years ago that they had their reader, a friend of theirs at the wedding, read the entire Oh, the Places You Will Go book. He had the book in his hands, he read every page, and it took quite some time to do. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. I would recommend excerpts from. So if you have excerpts from a book, that's fantastic, where you just quote a few paragraphs or a few pages or just a section that you absolutely love. And you can preface it, you can introduce it with why it was chosen for your wedding or why you chose it to read at someone else's wedding. There's some other wonderful moments in weddings that I've had where I may suggest there was a couple that got married at the Caldwell House Bed and Breakfast in Salisbury Mills, New York, and they are huge Queen fans. And I found a reading. Sorry, I shouldn't say reading. It was actually lyrics by Freddie Mercury. It was a song that hadn't been heard a gazillion times before. It wasn't a popular song by him, but it was appropriate for their wedding. It wasn't something that people had heard and would kind of sing song along in their heads. It was something that they may not have ever heard before, and it turned out beautifully for their wedding. Another thing that's still popular, even though the show's off the air now, is a Game of Thrones wedding reading. It's the Vows by is it Colin Clisa Drago? I hope I'm getting that right. Um, as you are the moon in his life, he shall be your sun and stars. Um, Many times I'll do that as a benediction. That's kind of going out of the ceremony, starting to close things up. But I won't say where it's from until I've finished reading the passage. If I start off by saying, Carl and oh gosh, I can't remember who it is from Game of Thrones. Anyway, if I start by saying it's their wedding vows, then it's distracting. People think Game of Thrones and immediately, oh gosh, another Game of Thrones reference. Oh, ha, 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 ha. But if I do the reading first and then say that it's the wedding vows from Game of Thrones, they're like, oh, and then they giggle a little bit, but they're still moved by the content of the reading. So it's not so off putting and it flows so nicely in the content. Um, some other reading tips if you wanted something romantic, Captain Corelli's Mandolin, Destiny. I'm not sure of the author. The author is unknown, listed out there. There's so many. Um, oh, I'm trying to think of one we just did this weekend. Um, just general readings about marriage. You can find so many out there. Let me see if I can pull up really quick one of the readings from this weekend. Let's see. Kristen and Carlos got married at the Poughkeepsie Grand this weekend, and one of the readings I did for them was, one of them I believe was Destiny. Yes, Destiny. And this, oh, that was the Apache Wedding Blessing. It was a different reading this weekend. Let's see. I'm going to look into my readings on my Google Drive and see Graffiti Moon by Kathy Crowley, I think it is. Yes, Graffiti Moon by Kathy Crowley is a nice, funny one. I Promise to Love You by Amanda Catherine Ricketson is funny as well. There's a reading from Jane Eyre. Which one was from this weekend? It was pretty special, and I just want to see if I can find it here. Sorry, don't mean to bore you. Oh, crud. I cannot find it. Anywho, there are so many wonderful readings out there. I'm going to list a few more for you. But what you can do is kind of dig into readings that are out there. Beach Chairs by Joyce Abrecht. Wonderful reading for people who just absolutely love the beach. It has some wonderful passages in there. Somewhere by Linda Hartnett, another one for beach lovers. You also have First Corinthians. A lot of people make bets on whether First Corinthians will be done in a ceremony. Love is patient, love is kind, etc. You've probably heard it before, and it's absolutely beautiful. There's nothing wrong with having it in your ceremony. There are other options. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 8 through 11. Let's see. Some non-biblical readings would be A Time to Laugh by Sister Joan Chittister. Always have trouble saying that one. An excerpt from The Irrational Season by Madeline L'Engle. There's the Apache Wedding Blessing. There's also Calvin and Hobbes quotes, etc. I think you kind of get my point now. Just going to take a quick glance and see if I can find. Oh, sorry. He Never Leaves His Seat Up by Pam Ayres is hilarious. It's a nice one if you really want that levity in your ceremony. The Freddie Mercury song, The Queen song that I was referring to was called I Was Born to Love You. There's also I Will Be Here by Stephen Curtis Chapman. Let's see. So I'm trying to find that specific. The Art of Marriage by Wilford A. Peterson. And The Bridge Across Forever by Richard Bach. They're both very, very romantic and uplifting poems that are wonderful for weddings. If you have questions about wedding readings, if you are just not sure even where to start with your search, feel free to comment below. Make sure you subscribe too, because I might answer your questions in another video. I've been an officiant for about 10 years, 9 or 10 years now. And I just love what I do. And one of the things I do for my clients is I customize their ceremonies. And that might mean finding wedding readings for them. About 99% of the weddings we do, I make the recommendations for the readings, where other people sometimes go out on their own and choose the readings themselves, which is wonderful. That's beautiful and it's personal to them. But on my end of things, I love when I hear that particular sound from a couple when I suggest a reading to them and they, sorry, I'm hearing strange sounds. What are you two doing? As they're chanting over crystals that they found. Oh, they're such goofballs. Anywho, so where was I? So as far as the readings go, just finding wedding readings, it can be a challenge, but I love that reaction that I get from couples when I show them a reading. Maybe I read it to them over the phone, or if I'm in person with them and I read some of it for them, and this is what I hear. Oh, those sounds that are just, I just know, or the smile that comes across their face. And then there are those moments where I make a suggestion. I'm still digging for a little more information from the couple, and I'm not sure that it's right reading for them. And they're like, oh, that's nice. And I say, nope, that's not your wedding reading. So they might say, oh, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, that would be okay. Nope, not your wedding reading. I truly believe that the content of your wedding should be meaningful to you. Why waste time on things that aren't going to invoke some sort of emotional response when you only have 30 minutes out of your entire life during the ceremony to capture what you want in your wedding? So why should that few minutes of that wedding reading be on something that was just, okay, might as well skip it then. You don't have to have readings in your wedding. Again, if you have questions, if you need suggestions for wedding readings, please comment below and make sure you subscribe to my channel. I would love, love, love to know what you would like to hear more about in the wedding or event industry. And a little behind the scenes. Joan, I'll take you behind the scenes sometimes on what we do for setting up our photo booths or ceremony setups and ceremony sites, etc. I would love to hear from you. You also get to see our kids sometimes too. You can hear them in the background today. Anyhow, Joe's out and about. He's at an event right now, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to do this video this evening. I was just so inspired, and I really hope you enjoyed it and you got some good information from it. And see you next time. Zaro Celebrations.